So, there's something wrong with your Whirlpool water heater. Never fear. The appliance helpers are here. In today's repair guide, we'll be discussing error codes, troubleshooting, and repair tips. For more information, check out our website. There's a link in the description. Enjoy the video. If you're looking for help fixing your Whirlpool water heater, look no further. Our comprehensive Whirlpool water heater error code guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and show you how to read your model's error codes. Code E01. Problem: electrical power on with the tank empty or not completely full of water. Fix: turn off electrical power at the breaker. Open a hot water faucet in the house and then turn the cold water supply onto the water heater and allow time for the tank to fill with water. Once you see water coming out of the hot water faucet, turn the hot water faucet off. Restore power and then allow the water heater to run a system diagnostic. This typically takes 8 minutes. Code E02. Problem: water temperature exceeds the high limit. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off and then press the reset button located behind the control panel on the water heater. Flip the house circuit breakers to the on position. If the error returns, call a service technician for assistance. Code E03. Problem: upper thermistor sensor failure. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Replace the electronic thermostat located behind the control panel. Code E04. Problem: upper element failure. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Remove the control panel to access the upper heating element. Disconnect the upper heating element and measure across the element terminals for ohm resistance. Using a multimeter, check the wires at the element and electronic thermostat for damage. The heating element should measure 525 ohms of resistance. Drain the water heater and then replace the heating element if it's defective. If this error condition continues, replace the electronic thermostat. Refill the water heater before you flip the house circuit breakers on and restoring power. Code E05. Problem: lower element failure. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Remove the lower cover to access the lower heating element. Disconnect the lower heating element and measure across the element terminals for ohm resistance. Drain the water heater and then replace the heating element if it failed. If this error condition continues, replace the electronic thermostat. Refill the water heater before you flip the house circuit breakers on and restore power. Code E06. Problem: electronic thermostat failure. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Next, flip the breakers to on to see if the error clears. If the error does not clear, switch the circuit breakers off and replace the electronic thermostat located behind the control panel. Code E07. Problem: lower thermistor sensor failure. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Remove the control panel and check the electrical connections on the electronic thermostat. If the wiring and connections are okay, replace the lower thermistor sensor located above the lower heating element. Code E08. Problem: energy smart module failure ESM. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Check the wires and the energy smart module control panel for damage. If this error condition continues, replace the energy smart module ESM. You can override the ESM by unplugging the harness connector. The water heater electronic thermostat will continue to operate and hot water will still be available. Replace the ESM. Code E9, E10, E11, E12. Problem: electronic thermostat ET error. Fix: switch the two house circuit breakers dedicated for the water heater to off. Check the wiring at electronic thermostat for damage. Restore electrical power at the breaker. If this error code continues to flash, replace the electronic thermostat. If you're looking for help fixing your Whirlpool water heater, look no further. Our comprehensive Whirlpool water heater troubleshooting guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and show you how to read your model's error codes. Step 1. Check for leaks from the tank. There is no fix for a water heater with a leaking tank. It must be replaced. Step 2. Check the breaker to be sure power is on for the water heater. It is necessary to check the working condition of a water heater with power supplied to the unit. Put on rubber sole work shoes and be sure the floor near the tank is completely dry. Step 3. Unscrew the cover plates on the upper and lower access panels with a Phillips head screwdriver. Put on work gloves to remove the insulation cutouts. Step 4. Check the limiter switch. Some problems will cause the heat limit switch to trip and cut power to the unit. Press the reset button to restore power. Continue testing to find the problem that tripped the switch. Step 5. Troubleshoot water heaters that put out cold water. Check the power running to the upper element. If the voltage tester shows power, but the element is not heating, then the element is bad. If there is no power coming to the element, then the thermostat has failed and must be replaced. Step 6. Troubleshoot water heaters giving warm water or small amounts of hot water. Check the temperature setting. Adjust the setting with a slotted screwdriver if necessary. Set the temperature between 110 and 125 degrees F. Check the cold intake tube and fastener ring. If cold water is pouring into the upper tank, it reduces the output temperature. Make sure both thermostats are pressed firmly against the tank. Check the power at the upper thermostat connection terminals that transfer power to the lower thermostat. If the tester shows no power at these terminals, then the upper thermostat is faulty. If power registers, then test the terminals at the lower element. If no power shows, the lower thermostat has failed. If there is power but no heat at either element, then that element is bad. Step 7. Troubleshoot a water heater that puts out overly hot water. Check the temperature set screw. It should not be set above 125 degrees F if the temperature is properly set. Then one of the thermostats is to blame. Check for power at both elements. Any element that is getting power while the water is too hot has a faulty thermostat. Step 8. Correct the problem of popping sounds. Elements that have mineral buildup make popping sounds when they are working. Drain the tank and shut off power and water supply to the unit before removing an element to clean or replace it. Step 9. Get rid of bad odors in hot water. Magnesium anode rods cause bad smells when exposed to some of the minerals common in tap water. Drain the tank. Shut off the power and water supply and clean the tank thoroughly with bleach water. Replace the anode rod with one made of aluminum. If you're looking for help fixing your Whirlpool water heater, look no further. Our comprehensive Whirlpool water heater repair guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and maybe show you how to repair your appliance. For the home, kitchen, and beyond, Whirlpool manufactures appliances that homeowners have come to trust. Even a trustworthy appliance requires occasional maintenance or repair. However, if you're in need of Whirlpool appliance repair from experienced professionals, your local appliance helper can help. No hot water. It may take several hours for a newly installed electric water heater to reach normal operating temperature. If you don't have hot water after 2 hours, water not even warm. First check to make sure the water heater is getting electrical power. Not getting power is a common reason new water heaters don't work. Water leaks. With a new water heater, most leaks are caused by leaking connections at the hot water outlet or cold water inlet. Occasionally, leaks can be found coming from a fitting such as around the temperature and pressure relief valve or around one of the heating elements. Leaking fittings can often be tightened or repaired. It is extremely rare for a new tank to leak. Water drips. If drips are noticed coming from the discharge pipe of the temperature and pressure relief valve, the home's water pressure may be too high or a thermal expansion tank may be needed. Water pressure. Check your home's water pressure with a gauge. The recommended water pressure is 50 to 60 psig. If the pressure is higher than that, install a pressure regulating valve or adjust your existing pressure regulating valve if you have one. For water pressure issues, consult your local water utility or a qualified plumber. Most plumbing codes require a pressure regulating valve if the water pressure is above 80 psig. Checking for electrical power. To check for power, turn the circuit breaker marked water heater off or remove fuses. Remove the water heater's upper access panel. Carefully remove the insulation and plastic cover. Identify the power supply wires. Usually, these connect to the top 2 screws of the upper thermostat. Turn the circuit breaker back on and check for voltage on the top 2 screws of the upper thermostat. Thermal expansion tank. When water is heated, it expands. In older homes, the expanded water was pushed back into the water main. Today, most homes have backflow prevention valves that stop the water in your home from re-entering the water supply. A thermal expansion tank has an internal air bladder that can absorb the expanded water, protecting plumbing, appliances, and the water heater. For these reasons, Most homes now need a thermal expansion tank and a properly adjusted pressure regulating valve. Not having a thermal expansion tank is the most common reason for a dripping discharge pipe. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And stay tuned for more repair guides.